Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl, live
In person.
and live in color.
Hey, so last week when I said welcome back to the Infamous Podcast, I don't know if you listened back. I said podcast like really sarcastic. I was like, podcast? So, I don't know. I was listening back. I was like, maybe I should re-record that. Nah.
Maybe that was because of the too on the nose name of the character from Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, you mean Cruncher?
No, podcast.
Oh, yeah, fucking podcast. Yeah. You know, I almost quit podcasting after that. I almost told you, like, I'm not going to review this. This is like, I feel triggered. I feel attacked.
You're going to throw all your equipment away on the side of the road?
I was going to burn it. Just watch it all melt. Just, because it's mostly plastic anyway, right? Anyway, well, because we do talk on those little plastic microphones that you get at Five Below. So, hey, welcome back to the show. This is episode 319. Man, we're getting up there. I like the title for this one because it's "All Who Wander Might Be Lost
in Space"
in parentheses. So yeah, we are talking season 3 of Lost in Space this week. We are talking the Spider-Verse 2 trailer that dropped, or let me rephrase that. The Spider-Verse 2 Nothing Burger that dropped. Cowboy Bebop Karma, and Hawkeye. We are not going to cover Wheel of Time anymore.
Yeah.
Because Darryl, I think you're lukewarm on it.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna watch it all the way through. It's very similar to what I told you about Foundation.
Yeah.
In the sense that, although Foundation, I didn't have any backstory on that. I like it. But at the same time, there's a lot going on in the book, so I understand that. But it's one of those. It seems like it would have done better getting a second or third look at the scripts before they went into filming.
Yeah. See, I liked it, but in reality, with Foundation and Wheel of Time, I actively hated it. So, it's the same side, different coin, or same coin, different side, right? No, so we're just. I mean, if Darryl decides he wants to do a midweek review. I will say the new episode of The Expanse dropped today, season 6, episode 1, Strange Dogs. We will be doing a review of that midweek, just standalone. We're going to just knock out probably like a solid 2 hours talking about a 40-minute episode. Kidding. But we're going to do that, and then we'll bake The Expanse back into the normal show.
For the 5 weeks that it's on. And then we have next Friday, The Witcher starts.
Yeah, The Witcher. So we'll probably do that the week after, because I have no idea how many episodes it is.
Oh, I don't even. I think it's. I don't know if it's 8 or 10.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. So.
And then we get into Superlatives Best Of. We're gonna bring back Certified Infamous Best Of TV Show, Certified Infamous Movies. So
that should be fun.
I don't think you read enough comic books to do the comic book.
No, I don't. So. No, I mean, the comics I've read this year, other than back issues, have been Robin, Nightwing, Berserker.
So, well, and I was going to say Robin is the best.
Seven Secrets.
Yeah.
Those are pretty much it.
So,
and all of those I love all of those. Yeah. So, but anyway. 4 books. Yeah. That's piddling. That's mid.
Yes, and you are mid.
In that regard.
Be mage. Don't be mid, be mage. Anyway. So that's kind of what we're doing for the rest of 2021 as we rocket towards 2022. Although I just keep thinking we're going to skip 2022 and go directly to 2023 for some reason.
Who knows?
I don't know.
It might be that the news will start reporting it's actually 2023 and then everyone will believe it.
Right. So, all right, let's get to the first story, topic, news bite, if you will.
Story in quotations.
Yeah. So I had like 6 or I'm just gonna play this in the background while we're talking. So I had like 6 or 7 people be like, "Did you see the new Spider-Verse trailer?" And I'm like, "I saw a scene from the Spider-Verse that's probably not in the movie." Although I will say my favorite thing about this was the comments from moms in like the different like Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, like, what is she doing sitting on his bed in multi-dimensional clothes? Why are her shoes on his bed? This just kind of opens with Spider-Gwen and the tighty whities there. So but I mean, it looks cool. I mean, like, I like how they aged both of them up.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. And he's grounded for some reason. So.
Yeah, trying to clean up his room.
Yeah. Drawing pictures of her. Creepy stalker guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it like the stuff looks good. I kind of wish they would have grown her hair out a little bit on both sides instead of keeping the buzz.
I will say this, and again, it's right now it's set for October 2022.
Yeah.
Which I still remember the first teaser of Into the Spider-Verse, and I'll admit that when I first saw that, I said, "Who cares?"
Well, yeah.
I was like, "Who cares?"
I mean, especially because you look at Miles as like the token Spider-Man anyway.
Well, I actually used to. That's why I didn't read it right away when you kept telling me about it.
I like Miles. Here's the thing. So he's going through the little time tunnel, like whatever you want to call it, and he's now like two-dimensional drawn, which I actually would watch this if it looked like this. I think it's cool, or a cartoon or shorts at the very least. But then here comes Miguel, and now they're hopping through different dimensions and things like that. So I think they want you to think Spider-Man 2029 is a bad guy, and he's not. I mean, he's there trying to save Miles from something or bring Miles to something else.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
But it's called Across the Spider-Verse this time, Part 1. So, I don't know. October 7th, 2022. We have lots of time to worry about this. I think it's important because where am I? I'm on the Marvel Entertainment. So, this one has that's subscribers. It's got 3.2 million views since December 4th. I think the Sony one had more, so I mean, people are excited. People like this. You liked it definitely more than you liked Spider-Verse more than I did.
I love Spider-Verse.
Lukewarm on it. I liked Miles. What I don't know. There was just something like it kind of felt boring. Ep spots and just knowing Miles from the comic, and it was just weird. The change of his dad and things like that was odd.
And again, the Ultimates version. I don't know what they're doing with him now. We'll have to talk after the show. Something I saw that was absolutely criminal.
Well, I'll just tell you I'll tell everybody what they're doing with Miles Morales in the comic book right now. They're recycling Peter Parker stories and they're giving them to Miles, and they're going to make them, and they're going to be less good.
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
the people writing Miles are less good than the people who wrote Peter Parker in the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
So sorry. I mean,
I will say it took me about 10 minutes to warm up to Enter the Spider-Verse as far as the animation style.
Yeah, the look, that scanner dark.
That really took me a minute to, but then once my eyes adjusted, I really enjoyed it. And because I did read that some people couldn't handle the style of the animation, and they I mean, kind of like Cloverfield and but yeah, again, this is a long way away.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see much more of it when it comes out. It just freaked Darryl out. I turned lights on with my phone. Dun dun dun. Welcome to the future. But yeah, all right. So I mean, we'll see. It looks like I said. I like how they aged the character up. Miles with he's bigger. He's more adult looking. Gwen is bigger and more adult looking, but she has the same haircut. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
She only had that haircut because Miles ripped her hair out of her head when he spider stuck to it. Anyway, so all right, moving on.
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop.
In Karma news.
Yeah, right. So if you were one of the tens of people who watched Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, and if you are the one of person who liked Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, this is probably a big disappointment for you. It's been canceled.
I mean,
a month later.
Yeah.
Netflix has never canceled anything this fast.
No. That was very quick.
I think I tried to watch the first episode. I really did. Mm-hmm. I think the really low budget look and feel, everything was a set. You could tell everything was a set. Everything was kind of poorly put together, like the Star Cruiser hotel for Star Wars, which just like people have been canceling their reservations for that. Much like people canceled Netflix for this, probably. There was that, and I think Daniela Pineda,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, she, I think she did not do any favors to the people to watch this show. So
no, she absolutely did.
Because the reason I checked it out just so I could shit on it.
Hate watch?
No, I wasn't, because I wasn't going to watch more than the first episode anyway.
You just kind of wanted to get the lay of the land. I was
curious as what it looked and sounded and felt like, especially because like the anime, which of the 26 episodes, I've only seen 10, is beloved, right? Mm-hmm. And she turned off fans immediately and turned on fans, turned on them as in like, I stab you. So, I like the same reason I still haven't seen Shang-Chi, and the same reason I won't see the Puternals. When actors start talking shit about fans, I'm out.
Oh, it took me a minute to say, like, which Eternals actor? I forgot.
Yeah. Kumail.
But
who I thought was like, he's an actor, so like, I know there's not a lot going on in there, but like, I thought he was like at least a nice person, especially because of like what he's been through with his wife and everything like that. But lo and behold, he is no bueno.
So, in that regard, I still won't. Again, I'm not going to let someone, if I want to see it, and then this is the thing. If I want to see something and someone says something like that, I'll just say, okay, I'll just wait till I don't have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give you my money. Something like this. So I told you a few weeks ago I started watching the anime Cowboy Bebop, and I really enjoy it. I haven't checked this. I want to watch the first season or the only season, and then I am going to give this a try, maybe one episode, just to kind of compare and contrast. And that's all you need, kind of, because that was one of the things what you said about it looking cheap, the sets and everything. Yeah. Brian's got his top knot in now.
I do. My hair was bothering me. I'm getting it cut tomorrow.
Yeah, there are shows that can work even though it's on the set, but it has to do with the direction. Perfect example. Everything about 300 is on a set.
Yeah. Well, The Mandalorian. Everything on The Mandalorian is on a set.
Yeah.
So.
But when you go the cheap, 300's on a set, it doesn't look cheap. If something looks cheap, that takes away from you kind of getting involved in it, in the sense of losing yourself in it.
Right.
Because you don't say, oh, yeah, well, that's... Because even shows, even think of shows or movies and you see something that's...
So when you lost yourself in it, did you get mom's spaghetti on your sweatshirt?
Jeez. Not quite.
No rabbit?
No. But I will give it a try. But again, this is one of those things. It's a deeper. This in this article from Bounding talks about a little bit. But one of the things I wrote is that people who think they are smarter or better than you, they're never going to learn from their mistakes, because
correct.
It's always going to their failures. They're going to blame it on other people. It's always the case. And there's a great comment in this article, and I wrote it down from this guy named SWF or person, whatever. And it's like, what's sad is that these people aren't interested in producing a good adaptation. They're interested in moving on to their next crop like locusts and inserting their message into that as well. and destroying even more cultural touchstones.
Right. Well, it's because it's not their culture, and so they want to destroy it.
Yeah.
That's just what this current crop of filmmakers is doing. I mean, look at what's happened to Star Wars. And I came to the conclusion this week as well that Marvel, the MCU, for me, ended at Infinity War. Thanos won. All was right with the universe. And then everything after that is fanfic.
I like that fanfic.
It's 100% fanfic. None of the characters are the same characters we've been dealing with for the last 10 years. So it's fanfic.
I'll say this though.
Wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. It's unfanfic because none of these people have watched the movies, which is why they don't understand it.
That's actually pretty accurate.
So
I will say that a good palate cleanser these last few weeks for me has been Hawkeye.
All right, hold on. We'll just get to Hawkeye then, right?
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah, we don't need to continue to talk about Cowboy Bebop and the failures of yet another anime adaptation.
Yeah. So okay, Hawkeye, season 1, episode 4, Partners. Am I right?
Am I right?
I am gonna say you liked this episode more than I did.
Yeah,
and I did not dislike this episode, but I did not feel it was as good as the last episode.
Okay.
And not just because of, I mean, like I agree with you. The story progressed this week, which was cool. I just liked last week a little better.
Yeah, that's fair. What I like more, and again, we continue to get more. I think we'll both say this: get more of that camaraderie between Kate and Clint, which is.
I'm just shocked they made a likable Kate Bishop. Just shocked.
Yeah, I've never read her. Like read any of the material that she's been in the Marvel comics. But I will say I like that. That's one of the things I liked about it, and I love how they're continually, slowly peeling. I won't say peeling back, but they're not inundating us with it, but they're giving us snippets into Clint's headspace and loss and what's going on with him with just. Everything. He's not just losing Natasha, but all the stuff he did as Ronin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and we got the, Natasha falling to her doom. Did you cry?
No.
I saw that part and was like, ooh, I can't make any Natasha falling to her doom jokes this week.
But I will say that when we got to the end of and. He gets put back into that situation with Kate. That was a little goosebumpy for me.
I thought that was I really like. So I liked the end of the episode. It was kind of like the whole thing with her mom and Jack didn't work for me.
Yeah, I see why they did it.
Yeah, I get why they did it. It's just like, what I kept waiting for is for them to be like, what are your intentions with our daughter? Sort of a thing to kind of try and sexualize it, which they didn't. And I'm glad they didn't. But, it being Hollywood, an older man, younger woman, older woman, younger man, older man, younger man, whatever. They tend to do that. And I'm really glad they didn't. But I was kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop.
Yeah. And I'm almost like 100% certain that they're not doing, like with this whole Jack, being the CEO or whatever, or Jack is not a bad guy.
Jack is a red herring.
Yeah.
Jack is not the CEO of that company.
Yeah.
Just in name only.
Yeah. It's going to be.
Jack has no idea he's the CEO of that company.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a patsy.
Yes.
So, yeah. But yeah, because like her mom is just evil.
Yeah, absolutely she is.
Evil.
Yeah.
From SpongeBob.
So you're going to drop this case?
Yeah.
Like who says that? Instead of saying, so you're going to like stop coming around my daughter in the sense of putting her in, in potential danger.
Look here, old man.
Yeah. So
quit sniffing around my 22-year-old. I also thought them celebrating Christmas was a little weird.
What do you mean?
Like, because he wasn't having Christmas with his family. I don't know. I liked and I disliked the scene, because like I kind of want him to be sad that he's not with his family and not have fun. But at the same time, like, I thought it showed like the generosity of Kate, which was important to see. So
and I where I see where you're coming from, it doesn't take away from him being sad because did you see it's other than the the daiquiri mixes on him.
I mean, they were
everything.
drinking a lot. That was the other thing. I was like, oh my god, is she gonna try and kiss him or something? Like, just like, because we're trained to deal with that, right?
Yes.
Because the only way like movies and things like that can show love is through cheating and infidelity. So
and we've talked about this before with how shows can have ruined. And again, this is a lot of dramas where it has to be the sexual tension. It's like everybody doesn't have to go that route in a relationship.
Right.
There's actually relationships that are called friendships. And Hollywood, more often than not, doesn't know how to do that.
Right.
So I'm to your point, I was almost, and I think it's because of Haley Steinfeld. There's an innocence to her character.
There's just no sexuality to her whatsoever.
No, it's just
she's just a being. Is that what you're saying, Darryl?
A being.
So,
but I just and going back to again because this could be the Haley Steinfeld hour because I just love her addition to the MCU.
I mean, I'm a fan of
her in general.
Anyway,
yeah.
So, but
in the beginning of the show, when you were talking about your intentions, when they're talking about are you all working together?
Yeah.
And he's just doesn't want to say it, and then he says, "Yeah,
yeah." The best part though is I told you is when she calls him CB1.
Yeah,
like I loved it. That was great.
My partner, best friend.
Yeah. I love her delivery. Like that's what makes her likable. Is that Haley? Like, you watch Bumblebee. Like she's great in Bumblebee.
Oh, absolutely.
Like she's probably the only. She might be the best part of the Transformers franchise in Bumblebee.
As far as the human character goes, absolutely.
Oh, she's hands down the best human character.
Yeah, hands down.
But yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I liked her. I liked the action. I liked. I want to know more about the watch. Allegedly, there was a Kingpin post-credit scene that was in there, and then they went and took it out.
Okay, I was about to say I watched the credits.
Yeah, so allegedly.
Okay.
I have not seen this. I have no proof. Den of Nerds was talking about it, and so there's that. But I don't know. I mean, if they're gonna have Kingpin, that's cool. We got teased with Kingpin already. Obviously, the watch is very important, so we need to learn about what that is. I'm not even sure who has the watch at this point.
Yeah, because Kate got it, but I don't think he ever got it from her.
Right. So, the fight, the whole thing, like getting into it was Maya's apartment. That was pretty cool, and like how quick she was to like shoot out the lights with the gel. And that wasn't a thing like that was just like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Like it was really good. When she shot Maya with the arrow, Echo, that was cool. And like Echo kind of like brushed it off, which was again, that like showed some toughness in the character that we were told about and we saw some of, but like at the same time, just to like brush off an arrow bolt to the shoulder, like that was cool. Of course there was no blood, but it's Disney. And the whole, this is Echo's apartment. I'm fighting Echo. No, I'm fighting Echo. Well, then who am I fighting?
Yeah.
That was, and as soon as he said, who am I fighting?
I knew who
he
was
fighting.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I think, I thought it was interesting. I like the end. I thought Yelena showing up the way she did was weird. And my question is, who is the list of Clint's family for? Is it from Echo or was it from Yelena?
I don't know. I will say, I think it's almost a guarantee that Eleanor is the one that called in Yelena in some way, shape, or form because, that beginning scene where she asks him, are you going to drop this?
Yeah.
And he says, no. But I can make sure your daughter's safe.
Yeah.
And if you noticed, Yelena was, and again, I know Yelena is not in the Black Widow head mode.
Right.
But when she knocked Kate off the building, she made sure that she was tethered to
so
something.
You think Eleanor went to Val?
Yeah,
and was like,
because she wouldn't have gone straight to Yelena. Yeah. She probably has some type of relationship with her.
Interesting.
So, I mean, again, that's just kind of one of my thoughts because
it depends. I guess it depends on the time frame, right?
Yeah, because it would make more sense that happened than Yelena tracked Clint. Just happened to track him down right there.
When did the Black Widow happen in comparison to this?
That's a good question.
When did Virtue Signal and the Winter Soldier happen in comparison to Black Widow, and then this?
See, that's one of the things they have not done a good job of. Because they've done so well with the movies showing, especially, those first 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, this happened here, this happened here, this happened here.
Well, I mean, they couldn't do that with Sylvie because it was
time that's fine.
Travel.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, and that's forget about it anyway, right? Yeah.
But the other ones, these are supposed to be canon.
Yeah.
And directly with the timeline. And I think, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they mentioned how something. I know WandaVision, it was like 3 weeks after the blip or something. So we know that, but everything else we don't know. So I'm not sure.
Right.
But one of the things I was telling you about the watch is, when we first heard of, I first thought it was Tony's watch, but then when you hear Hawkeye say, well, if it's tied directly to a person who's been out of the game a while, and if it gets caught, well, that person's cover is blown or something along those lines. And I have to wonder, especially after she was just, she's just spat out some Russian like it was nothing, is it some way, shape, or form tied to his wife, Laura?
Right.
Like, is she an ex-SHIELD agent? Is she Mockingbird? Or is she someone totally different, but, has that experience? Or it could be somebody totally different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of... I just don't think it... If it's Tony's watch, that doesn't make sense why Hawkeye would say, hey, it's tied to somebody.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, too, is you got to remember Mockingbird was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so...
But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not...
Yeah, well, who knows what isn't canon, right? It's all Disney Marvel. So...
But also, the other thing, she was the one, Laura was the one that told him where the watch was, too. Mm-hmm. She was like, it stopped, the watch stopped here. How would she know that?
Yeah.
So...
Well, it's funny because this article from LA Times is saying that Laura might be Laura Brown, who was the daughter of one of the Hydra founders, and she helped Nick Fury escape in the comics when he was captured by. So, could it have Hydra ties? I mean, they're all conjecturing here, but so I don't know. I mean, I kind of like her just being Clint's wife. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she speaks German and she's helped him over the years and has access to his contacts and things like that, that kind of works too because they're a team. Mm-hmm. She doesn't necessarily have to be someone.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm fine with it. I just, and again, it could be this episode. Some of these hints are red herrings in the sense of her she just happens to speak Russian in this episode, and
it was German.
Yeah, in this episode, she just happens to the way she talks about stuff, and then so the kids don't know. That's not necessarily an everyday thing. And
when I liked how all the two older kids' ears kind of perked up when she was like,
right.
So. When she was giving Clint the ASMR on the phone.
Yeah. So that could absolutely be just kind of that, hey, look over here. And then it's actually, you should be looking over here. So.
All right. So out of 5, right? We do 5 for these, right?
Yeah. We haven't been rating these.
Haven't we?
No.
Yeah, we have.
I don't think we rated the last.
We might not have done last week. We did the one before because I made a snarky comment about the first 2. So, out of 5, Kate Bishop's thrown off the roof.
I think this is at least I'll give it a 3.5. I was debating between that.
Yeah, I'm gonna split there. I'm gonna go 3 1/4. Mm-hmm. Because it's not bad. We left out the LARPers were back.
Yes,
which was a great scene.
Yes,
especially when she went to them for help.
Yeah, and got his arrows.
Well, and she was all for it. She was like. Oh. Yeah, the look on her face when she figured out what she was sent to do and who these people were. She was like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah, and I got to say, some of the comedic moments in here were so good. Like, are you sure that's dry erase?
Yeah.
Or
and it was not. That's the beauty of it.
Or all our trick arrows should be boomerang arrows.
Yeah. Well, then they come flying back at you. Yeah, you just got ducked.
So I just have a lot of fun. Again, I think we've said this a couple times. I know I've said this a couple times. The camaraderie and chemistry they have is what Bucky and Sam were supposed to have.
Instead of the forced sexual tension.
Yeah, it was.
No, Bucky and Sam were not on the same page ever.
No.
And you would think they'd have been over that with Steve being retired. And they'd be working well together in honor of Steve. But again, Malcolm, I don't remember his last name.
Malcolm Spellman?
Spellman.
Yeah.
Did not watch any of the Marvel stuff.
No.
And someone told him about Isaiah Bradley. So.
Yeah. And
he's doing Cap 4.
Which I'm not excited for.
Well, again, why it's all unfanfic.
Yeah. So, and what you said about her being capable, another capable thing, and I'm glad it came out like this, was when she put 2 and 2 together and she was like, it was you were Ronin.
Yeah.
And she didn't judge him or anything or get like, so, you know, other shows I could have seen them doing that in the sense to add more drama to it.
So, I mean, it's like what happens if Cooper gets blipped out for you, right? You go on a murder spree and you
Absolutely.
kill all the other cats in the neighborhood.
Yes. But I absolutely love that. I mean, I just love that.
Darryl will not actually kill cats.
No. I love cats.
You've got that crazy cat lady gene.
I don't know. I just have one.
No, that's a legit gene. That people that it's a crazy cat lady gene. It's like genetic.
So, but yeah, I really like where this is going. It's only 2 episodes left. So
yeah. But I feel like we've moved along because this is happening over the span of 5 days.
Yes. Yes.
So, it's been an eventful 5 days. I also liked how he was like, I'm a little banged up. Nothing's broken. And she's like, well, put your feet up. Ice him if you have to. Like, it was like the most, like, they're such a great husband and wife. And I am really going to be sad if they kill him.
Yeah. And it's one of the few.
Actually, I'm going to be mad if they kill him.
I will be mad. No, I will be pissed. Then I might go on a murder spree. But this, Linda Cardinelli being brought in during Age of Ultron is one of the best parts. Probably for me the best part of Age of Ultron, because that the whole farmhouse scene where they actually wanted to cut it, and Joss Whedon actually fought for it.
Wow.
So he actually did something.
He did something good since Buffy.
Yeah. So
anyway, yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I liked it. Let's move on. Lost in space. Yeah, so season 3.
Oh man.
Has come and gone. No, it's still there. So I remember the very first season of Lost in Space I watched in one sitting. I was enthralled. I loved Lost in Space as a kid. Like, obviously we had the reruns. Like, we weren't alive when it was first on. I loved how the first 2 seasons were black and white and the last season was color. I really thoroughly enjoyed the show. It was like going from planet to planet. And
what about the movie?
Lost. What? Actually, I do not hate the movie.
Okay. I watched that a long time ago.
I thought Gary Oldman was a really good Dr. Smith. I am a huge William Hurt fan. I'm a huge Heather Graham fan. I thought, what's his name? Matt LeBlanc was horribly miscast.
As
and
Don.
then Mimi Driver as Maureen was, she's great too. I'm a big fan of hers as well. But I mean, we've been talking about, actually, we haven't really talked this week other than a little bit yesterday and a bunch today, just because schedules and being busy. But I thought, like, let's do a little retrospect of the series before we get to the third.
Mm-hmm.
This is a show that built everybody up. Will is still the genius. Will is still the hero of this story. But Will's sisters were not just damsels in dresses.
No.
They were damsels in a dress. They were as capable. They were brilliant in their own way. They had their own set of skills, if you will. And they grew. They both grew tremendously. I think the one weakness is Will did not necessarily grow. But I think it's also because he was like a fully formed adult as a little boy when we got to him, right? But I think the real standout was Molly Parker as Maureen Robinson, because she was now the scientist of the family and the genius and not just the homemaker. And then John Robinson by Toby Stevens, who is usually a villain. So I thought this was a great, like, non-typecast role for him.
Well, I would say because you haven't watched Black Sails yet. He was that he comes across as always keeping something hidden.
Yeah,
that mysterious.
He did this for a little bit here.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, making John Robinson a warrior, he's a Navy SEAL, which is funny when you can go to space. But I thought making that change was interesting. And then Judy being John had adopted her, and then what we get with this season, like, really added to her character, and again did not take away from John at all. And in the finale, there's a great scene that we'll get to that involves John and someone important to Judy.
Yes, great scene.
And then Ignacio, I don't even know, the guy that played Don West. Did you ever watch Bones?
No.
So it got to a point in Bones where they killed off one of the characters, and so then it was just like a rotating cast of interns helping her, and the guy that played Don, Ignacio, was one of them, and he had defected from Cuba, and he's working with Dr. Temperance Brennan, and he's all brash and he's great. He's a great character. He's a great foil for her because he's not as smart, but he's one of the smarter ones of the interns, and she hates him because he's so brash. Which I loved him as Don West and with Deborah. Like, yeah, that was good. That's just what the chicken was awesome. And then Parker Posey kind of rounded that out as Dr. Smith. And I remember, like, there was, like, well, you obviously weren't with us when we first did the first season or the second season, but Parker Posey was a point of contention at first, not because she was a woman playing Dr. Smith, because they handled that fantastically, the way it worked out for her to be quote unquote Dr. Smith. But in the first season, she was full Posey the whole time. She was, it's like Robert Downey Jr. says in Tropic Thunder, you never go full Posey. So, and I thought this was the progression of her character and, like, really kind of understanding she's this, like, sociopathic criminal, and I don't know. It just worked. And so the robot and the robots and the whole idea of people being awful and using these robots to, jump through space, and it was really, really cool. So, and then when we get to the third season, the summary of the third season, it's pretty quick. In the third and final season of Lost in Space, the stakes are higher than ever as the Robinson family's survival instincts will be put to the ultimate test. After a year being trapped on a mysterious planet, Judy, Penny, Will, and the robot must lead the 97 young colonists on a harrowing evacuation, but not before secrets are unearthed that will change their lives forever. Meanwhile, John and Maureen, with Don at their side, must battle overwhelming odds as they try to reunite with their kids. The Robinsons will have to grapple with the emotional challenge of not just being lost, but being separated from the ones they love as they face the greatest alien threat yet. I told you, I mean, because I finished this before you did. And all I told you was, this is how you end a show.
Yeah.
This whole season, and then the finale was so satisfying. I found the season satisfying as a whole. We learned all about the robots. Oh, by the way, we're going to spoil some of this. Like,
Yes.
I'm not going to spoil too much, but we're definitely going to have some spoilers. Like, they end up on the robot's home world by complete happenstance, and it's fine. That works, right? We get to see the makers of the robots from a point of view. And then you get to see how the robots felt about the makers, which was again, like, just this is why, okay, anyone who's in tech listening to this, or if your parents are in tech and they're working on AI, destroy their files now. Just do it. Don't kill your parents. That's horrible. But destroy their life's work. Like, make sure that they can't recreate it, you know? A nice, like scarf choke, cut the carotid artery for a minute or two, just, kill some brain cells so they can't recreate it. That's all right. But AI and giving robots any sort of personality or ability to learn is the most terrifying thing to me ever. And I sent you that video with the robot that made the facial expressions.
Okay,
and
really?
I was like, kill it with fire.
Really? Yeah.
Do we have any napalm?
Going back to, real quick.
I immediately regretted not having my copy of the Anarchist Cookbook anymore.
For me, I did like season 1.
Yeah.
The thing that dragged it down at least one level, maybe almost 2, was Parker Posey.
Well, she went full Posey.
She was.
You never go full Posey.
I couldn't stand that character, and not in a way of, oh, I can't wait till, I don't like this character, but this character's great. It was just I didn't like anything about her, and it was the overacting that she did. I admit that, and again, we were talking about when we were coming back in the car, not assuming things, and I did assume, not with her, but with Judy. I was like, okay, is this another forced diversity thing? But everything, and that's the thing. Even though season 1, I didn't like it, I thought it was okay. It was a little bit more than okay. But the writing was always about the characters, about the story.
We should come up a word for that. Forced diversity. Like forced diversity or something. Deforcity. Anyway.
And
I 100% understand.
And then season 2, I remember, because I reviewed season 2 for sci-fi science fiction, and I loved season 2. And then this season, again, it's one of these things like you would expect with good writing, a good team of directors and showrunners, something like this would do. It got progressively better. It didn't start out at the bottom and then got good. It started off pretty good, and it just got even better than that. And this is one of, like, ending a series, whether it be 3 seasons, 7 seasons, 15 seasons, or as you say, 5 seasons, and then 10 seasons of dreams.
No, it was 5 seasons and a 10th anniversary of the finale special.
Retrospective. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
How dare you, madam?
How dare you?
And that loses a little bit of its luster. You were a little bit late to that.
Well, it's across the table from me, so it's a little further than it normally is.
But it's always dicey ending a series. Like, what you're going to get.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, look at what happened with Game of Thrones. Look at what happened with The Sopranos.
Or
look
Dexter.
What happened with Dexter. Look at what happened with 24. Look at what, I mean, you name it. Look at what happened. I mean, like, The Shield finale was super satisfying, right? That's a great example of one. The Justified finale, it was good. It wasn't great. You know, I think it's really hard. The Battlestar Galactica, whereas I personally liked it, most people didn't.
Yeah.
We're going to see with The Expanse here in a little bit.
I'm still nervous for that one.
Yeah. So I think like the Atypical finale. Did you watch Atypical the last season yet? Like,
yeah.
The finale was a little off. It just didn't make a lot of sense for like what had happened in that show for the previous 5. It was still good.
Yeah.
The final season was actually like
I like the final season.
Really weird, but good.
Yeah.
But this one is like, I mean, it's Netflix, right? So it's like, what are they going to do to Netflix this up? Because let's be honest, Netflix is not the same studio it was 5 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago when the first season. When was the first season?
Was it 2018?
2018. Yeah. So 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like Netflix is not the same studio that it was 3 years ago. It's got a completely different set of priorities. It's got a completely different set of like storytelling mandates and things like that. So the fact that we were able to keep this show intact from Matt Sazamon and Burke Sharpless's points of view, I think is a fleeting thing that we're going to see less and less of, right? From creators. I will say I do love that they wrote the first 2 episodes, which were the pilot. I mean, they wrote a bunch of it. They wrote the season 1 finale. They wrote the season 1 premiere. They wrote the season 2 finale. They wrote the season 3 premiere and the series finale. And they're the showrunners.
Interesting. That's really cool. Yeah.
So like we had this cohesive unit that was involved throughout the entire series, which is fantastic. And I do want to call out like the episode. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 6 different directors throughout this last season. And the Leslie Hope episodes, Contingencies on Contingencies, and Stuck, were both like, so episodes 5 and 7 were very good, very, very good, and very drama filled, like tense, right? And then the Sarah Boyd, not Sarah Boyd. The Sarah Boyd episode, the new guy was really good too.
Which one?
That was episode 3.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler, when we meet Judy's dad. So, which was cool, and I'm not going to tell you how she found him. But it was cool. It was, and it was a surprise. That was the beauty of it. There was at no point was it like, did they call their shot? At no point did they like be like, oh, well, maybe this is where we'll meet Judy's dad. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
But that was really, really cool. And then Julian Holmes, Nothing Left Behind, and Final Transmissions. So episodes 4 and 6 were definitely good. But I do want to call out Jabbar Rasnani, who did Trust, episode 8, the finale. He had to deal with shooting at night out in the desert, shooting in the day in the middle of a city, and shooting on multiple foreign planets with completely different terrains, right? And everything he shot looked beautiful. And all of his like just the way the episode flowed, not just from the writing standpoint, but like the very obvious direction the kids were given to act to. I think like this is a group, like if they were like, hey, let's do a movie with this group, like let's like wait 5 years and do a movie.
Oh, I'm in.
I want him to direct it, and I want them to write it.
Oh, absolutely.
Or if he can't do it, I want Leslie Hope involved. But yeah, I thought it was a really, 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 really good show. Like I said, I couldn't be happier with the ending. I definitely like did not see the whole thing with the change to some of the robots and how that happened. But I will say my favorite character remained my favorite character throughout the series. Penny Robinson was fantastic, played by Meena Sundwal. She was great because she's the middle child. She showed those like weird middle child tendencies that like your brother probably has, being the middle child, even though you're much younger than him. But she was the one, I think, she's the character who grew the most, who matured the most, and who at the end of the day became the most reliable character on the show.
I'd also say she's the most relatable character of all of the family.
She's Kitty Pryde. Like she's the audience's, avatar for the series. But, some of the times with that character, like Malcolm in the Middle, right? Like Malcolm is the one who we're supposed to relate to, which is kind of hard because he's a super genius. Like he's essentially a Cray computer inside of a person's body. But like, Frankie Muniz is super likable, so he does that great job. Kate Bishop in Hawkeye is supposed to be that for us in that show. And that works because Haley Steinfeld is good. But you get shows where like, even though I only watched the first one and it took me 4 tries to get through like Twilight, Kristen Stewart is supposed to be that person. And she's not, because she's just not necessarily very good in that role.
Yeah. I don't know if I really had a favorite character in this show. Every when I say characters, I mean the family, the Robinson family. I'm not counting Smith because for season 1, I didn't like her one bit. I didn't like any time she was on the screen.
No.
Season 2, she did better, but still there were times she still went back to Posey.
She went full Posey.
I thought she was great in this season.
She was amazing in season.
She was absolutely great in this season. So, because I can't say that I had a favorite character.
Yeah.
I loved how everyone had their moment to shine.
Oh yeah,
I love that part. Like again, we always talk about this, sometimes on the show, but a lot when we're just talking about stuff is the mistake writers that aren't good, and there's a lot of them, do is to prop one character up, they have to tear another character down.
Right.
This show proved that you can have every character shine without taking something away from another character.
Support each other when they're shining. Because John very easily could have been written as a much angrier person, because he was a little angry at the beginning.
Yeah, he was.
But he was also a warrior. He was home from detachment, and he comes home to find out his family is going into space, maybe without him.
Yeah.
And that's how their marriage is going to end.
Yeah, and again, part of that was him, going back, deploying again when he said he wasn't going to, and because he was having trouble with relating to that life, he had trouble relating to his kids.
I mean, think about that. Like Will Robinson is your kid, who you're not like super familiar with, and then, how do you do that?
Right.
But I will say, the scene I was talking about before with him was the scene with Grant Kelly. It was in the finale, and they're gearing up to go on the last hurrah of a mission, and it's Grant Kelly and John Robinson working together, and Grant says I understand. Or, well, they're talking about like all the things Grant had done, all of his first. He goes, well, I understand you're pretty good at second grade science projects. And he's like, oh, she told you about that. And he's like, yeah, man, I appreciate you not letting me die. Like, letting her know who I am and everything. And he's like, you're her dad. You were like, you were the man. Like, why wouldn't I do that? And Grant's like, most guys wouldn't. And I'm thinking about that. I'm like, I don't think I would ever like I would never not tell a kid how great their dad, for whatever reason. And I think that showed a lot about both of those characters, because one, it showed the man that John Robinson was outside of war. And two, we got to see all sides of John Robinson, but it really showed the gratitude that Grant Kelly had, knowing that like, hey, I made this decision to take off. I had no idea Judy even existed.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what decision I would have made there, but like, I'm so happy she had you in her life, and that you adopted her, and that you never treated her as anything other than your own.
Right. And speaking of the Grant Kelly character, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel when they brought him into the show.
Yeah. Which we're not saying how we brought him.
Yeah, I'm not. I will say he had one of my favorite lines of the entire, not just the season, but the series, when he's talking to Judy and, I think they're talking about, what happened to him or whatever. And she says something about you would survive. And he was like, life's not just about survival. It's about making a difference. So when you're all done, you can say, I did that.
Yeah.
I like that. Like that gave me chills when he said that.
I mean, that is his character to a T. He was the first man on Mars. He was the first man out of the solar system. He was the first man wherever. He was just constantly first. Total overachiever. The other thing he conquered first, Maureen Robinson. Anyway, but no, it was such a good send off for this show. Parker, I think Parker Posey was really, really good. The other thing was like, even the guy that was the governor in the first season, or the second season, Victor, who was like, I'm just gonna take my family and leave. I felt like his redemption was completed this time around.
I really like that scene with him and John.
I love that. It's just, it was really good. And the way it looked, the quality of the show, the quality of the effects, the quality of the sets, like you had mentioned when they came out of space and they saw, Alpha Centauri for the first time. It was such a cool scene. So
yeah, it's the effects, and even when I had up and down issues with season 1, I was always impressed by the effects of this show. And this is one of those things that got better because they expanded what they had to do, and most movies don't look as good as this.
The Jupiter set, like the set of the Jupiter, was just so cool. I mean, and it had its constraints,
right?
But it was still livable, and it was a big ship. I mean, they were big ships, and that worked out. And so they could have the Pathfinder or the rovers or whatever they called them, and they could have like a medical bay, and I mean, they were made to be habitats when you get to wherever you were getting,
right,
while you build the city.
Yeah.
So and I thought that was such a great touch, and I liked how bright the show was. Like even in the final battle, which is at night, like the lighting nothing
was muddy.
Yeah,
the lighting was very good.
When you have the issues with the robots during the last thing, like the robots are all very distinguishable. Like they all have their own little like tick, the way they walk, the coloring. Like I thought they handled it perfectly, and even there's something that happens where like the robots when they change form, I guess, like even like the color of their metal changed, and like there was one that was kind of blue, there was one that kind of rose gold, there was one that was kind of golden. Like it was just like, it was really clever the way they just kind of low key used color.
Yeah, I know most shows people put time and effort into, even shows that are bad. And again, you can't, even if I don't like a show, there are people in the background that do a lot of stuff to make these shows. A show like this, even more so, the time and effort and creativity, and not just creativity that goes, but creativity with a purpose.
Right.
And that's the thing. Creativity is about being able to do things within a constraint.
Right.
Not just do anything you want, but having boundaries and being creative within those boundaries. And the things that they did on this show, not just characters from the set perspective, like you were just saying, like the robots, all of this stuff. It's just such like the passion and the work that went into all this show is bravo.
Yep. All right. So we're going to do a rating for the season and then the series as a whole. Mm-hmm. So for the season, we'll do out of 10 for both.
Okay.
So out of 10, goodbye, Mr. Scarecrows. What do you give season 3?
R.I.P.
Rest in power.
Yeah. I give season 3 a 9 out of 10. I was going to go 8.5, but a 9 out of 10 because as good as the first 2 seasons were, and as good as the characters were, this does even more. Not only does this continue to up the ante, not just from a tension perspective, but from a character arc perspective, it does what a lot of shows have trouble doing, and it sticks the landing in that finale.
Sure. Okay. I get it. I like it. I'm going to go 8 out of 10. I don't think it's a 9. It's good. It's not for me, it's not a 9. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I could have gone with one more episode. I think 10 episodes would have been too much. I do think a 9th episode might have been interesting, but I think 8 was a good number of episodes. And I liked the story progression. I loved the story progression. Mm-hmm. I loved how it looked. I liked the humor. I liked the darkness. I like, the drama, like all of that. I thought it's a great series, a great season to cap off, the series. Mm-hmm. So 8 out of 10.
Okay.
All right. So same 10. Let's stay out of danger, Will Robinsons. For the series.
The series, this is, for me, an 8.5. I was going to do an 8, but then I kind of thought about it just by, season 1, I would have given probably a 7, too. Mm-hmm. But the series from start to finish did such a great job building up characters, building a story, and weaving those two in. And it's not one of those things I ever thought, the story is suffering at the hands of developing the characters or vice versa.
Right.
It was always lockstep with one another. And again, that's another thing that's not necessarily easy to do all the time. So I really want to go back probably in a few months and then just watch this from the beginning.
It feels like one long season, right?
Yeah,
there's no reboot reset at the beginning of each season. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a 7.5 just because the first season was the weakest of the 3.
Yeah.
And that's whatever. I was trying to think of a good trio. That's like saying Porthos is the worst musketeer. I mean, it's just by tiny degrees that we're talking about here. It was a very dated reference, wasn't it? Anyway, but yeah, I think I like this. I'm definitely gonna watch the 3rd season again. I'll probably just do a rewatch and watch the whole thing, like you said, and in a couple months, probably after Cobra Kai or something.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Witcher, Cobra Kai. I'll do that before
Expanse.
Before I cancel Netflix again, I'll give this a rewatch.
Yeah, but I and what you said about, hey, if they wanted to do a few years down the road, do a movie.
Yeah,
I would absolutely
come back,
love that.
Revisit it. It's left wide open. The story ends, but it's still
there's still stories to tell.
Spoilers. Everybody's alive who should be alive.
Well,
and
like Penny said, the end.
Chapter
1.
So. And Will's got his thing going on, which was really cool. I really like that. We need to work on his naming conventions for things a little bit, but he'll get there. He's a kid. But yeah, no, it was really good. I don't know. I felt like we had a really good week of TV. Between this and Hawkeye and Young Justice, and I watched The Expanse this morning. You didn't yet.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna watch that when I get home.
I watched. I was telling you when we were at dinner, I watched this indie film called North Hollywood that I really liked this week. I watched it's on Hulu. It's called Die in a Gunfight with Alessandro Daddario and Diego. He's the young kid in the Tom Cruise musical movie.
Tom Cruise musical movie.
You know what I'm talking about with Gillian Hogue, Rock of Ages.
Oh, I've never seen that.
So anyway, but no, it's I mean it's on Hulu. You can watch it. It's Diego Boneta, but then it's also got Travis Fimmel in it.
Yeah, Travis Fimmel.
And Josh Hutcherson. He was. And Emmanuel Chikari is in it as well. So it's got an interesting cast. And it's not a great movie. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting movie. It's like a Romeo and Juliet thing, kinda. But yeah, I actually did enjoy it. But it is not. It's not. I would never call it a good movie. But it's the Rothkarts versus the Gibbons families sort of a thing, and Diego is a Gibbon and Alessandro Daddario is a Rothkart. So yeah, and Justin Chatwin, what has he been in? He looked really familiar.
He played Goku in Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, he was on Shameless,
and he was in Shameless too.
Yeah. Okay, that's why I recognized him. But
he's in another live show with Katie Sackhoff as well.
Okay, I haven't watched any of that.
Yeah, so. It's mid. I'll say mid.
And then Billy Crudup, it was the narrator of the movie, which is great. So I like Billy Crudup, but it was just one of those things where it was Josh Hutcherson is not in this movie. I don't know what they're talking about. Okay, I'm talking to myself at this point.
Yes,
I'm sure this is what people listening to the podcast want to hear is me talking to myself.
Yeah, they've already muted you.
Probably unsubscribed.
The unsubbed.
Yeah, smash that like button. If you're listening this far and you're on YouTube, smash that like button. And subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe. But yeah, no, I mean it's just like this is just the shit I've been watching lately. So.
Yeah, I've been doing Christmas movies. So
I definitely want to watch that 8-Bit Christmas on.
Isn't that Neil Patrick Harris?
Max, yeah.
I haven't seen the trailer for it. I just saw that it was out.
I did watch the first episode of Santa Inc. because I was curious. I was like, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. And I have a reverent sense of humor. Like, some might call it dark.
Oh, absolutely.
Some might call it black. Some might call it midnight black. Like, black hole black, dark, as my sense of humor is. Void black, yes. That show is garbage.
Yeah.
Hot garbage.
Well, I've read the comments of people talking about it, and it wasn't... The comments were, this isn't funny.
No, it's just not.
It's stupid.
It's racist. It's I really don't want to get into this too much. It's two Jewish people making fun of Christians is what it's doing. And if it was the other way around and it was two Christians making fun of Jewish people, like, they would be canceled and brought up on like hate crime charges, tarred and feathered in the town square, and, probably castrated.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's probably two of the most tone deaf actors in Hollywood shows that. Like, it really shows. And I'm shocked at all that HBO thought this was a good idea.
Yeah.
I think they were thinking this is like our South Park.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, South Park is funny because it's good.
Yeah, I was about to say South Park because you have talented people writing South Park.
South Park isn't just mean to be mean.
No.
South Park is mean for sure, but it's mean in good fun.
And also, it's mean to, guess what? Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So yeah. Anyway, all right.
So I'm going to be finishing I'm going to be finishing Arcane. I'm going to keep up on Wheel of Time, and I'm really hoping some of the clumsiness of these first few episodes gets out.
Yeah.
I think Arcane is, with everything going on, I kind of lost the steam, but that show is amazing. Once I get done with it, I'll come back here and kind of give a short review of it, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And watching my Michigan Wolverines get to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, watching my Cincinnati Bearcats win the National College Football Playoffs.
Let's dap that. Yep.
Go Bearcats.
Go Blue.
Anyway, the other thing is The Expanse, the final book for the Expanse series. Leviathan Falls came out this week too, so I'm about halfway through that.
Yes. So I'm reading Cytonic, which is the last book of the Starsight trilogy from Brandon Sanderson, and then I'm going to jump right into that. So I should be done with that book probably tomorrow.
Nice.
So
yeah, then I got Thrawn Ascendancy book 3. So after that,
so, yeah, finally gotten back in my reading kick.
Yeah, me too. So. All right. On that note, thank y'all for listening. We will be back next week with
The Expanse.
The Expanse, episode 2. Maybe we'll just wait and do episode 1 and 2 next week. I don't know. I kind of really want to talk about episode 1 before a week from now. Anyway,
yeah.
So
let's do it. Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. If you want to get us a Christmas present, steal all your friends' phones and subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple. And then if you're on Apple, leave us a 5-star review on their account.
Yeah.
All right. Later.
So.